Hello everybody and welcome back to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel as we get driven through by an E400. Ooh, the inside of an E400. I'm on More Bus Videos, otherwise known as And More Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you are watching. And welcome to Scunthorpe at about 8 minutes past 6 on a weekday evening with an E400 there and one that hasn't loaded in front. There we go. The bus in front of us, 35205. For those of you wondering, yes, I do a lot of videos including realism. And this technically is a video, realistic video. Like it's real life, but I would argue it's not real life yet. It's something that, especially with the transfer of 35211 to Sheffield, is something that I can see happening quite soon. Not in the immediate future, as B9s from York have just arrived, but I could definitely see it in a few years' time. Hopefully, if First in Huddersfield keep the HD Connect livery that I discussed in my previous videos being really nice, that's why I wanted to drive it again. But it's something I could see happening with Streetdecks ending up at Huddersfield. It's something that is going to happen. I would be very, very surprised if it doesn't, especially saying how many cascades I get from Leeds and how many of them are there. So this is like not a what if, but possibly a when kind of video. Potentially 35205, potentially others. But I thought 35205 is a more realistic one in the shorter term future. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to get the vehicle all switched on, and then we're going to take it on an evening 1A round trip. So the round trip on the Scunthorpe circuit on the 1A. Now the Scunthorpe one is basically goes one way around, the other one goes the other way around, and henceforth. There we go. Does that not switch the lights on? I'd have thought that would have switched the lights on. I mean, the lights are on at the front. Is it not that one? Is it? Oh, they're up here, that's why. There we go, that's everything on. So might as well switch them on before we set off. We are already 2 minutes late, so this is going really well. Now, I'm going to click that because I already set it up. And then let's head round to the stand to pick up all of our punters. So it's been a while since I've driven on Scunthorpe. This is Scunthorpe 2020 map, and it has been a while since I've driven on it, so it will actually be quite nice. I haven't done the 1A in a video before, I don't think. Now, there's two different circulars. One goes one way around, one goes the other. And we're doing the slightly shorter one. Don't ask me how one of them is really long. I don't understand. It's logic beyond me. But one of them is longer than the other, basically, and we're not doing that run today. I don't know why you're all wanting to get on as well. But you're at the wrong stand. So it's been a while since I've driven the Streetdeck as well. I just haven't had chance. It's not, because it's not one of my go-to vehicles, I just don't tend to drive it. Because you just sort of get into the stage where you end up with your regular vehicles, like the Veiling, if I'm feeling a bit more vintage driven now, and if I just want to dart around the town, possibly on something like this. Usually I'd take the Solo, but because I've driven the Solo recently, I've driven the Veiling recently, I've driven the Renown recently, I thought, well, I want something different. And sometimes OMSI decides to just randomly load a vehicle type, and it randomly loaded this, and I thought, yeah, we'll give that a go. Now, that's not using the choose me a random bus thing, because that doesn't work when you have some maps on one side of the road and some maps on the other, and by the time you've deleted vehicles, loaded them again, it's a lot more hassle than it's actually worth. So I don't tend to bother with that, but if it does randomly just pop up and go, oh, it's the first bus that we're going to land on is the Olympian, and I might drive the Olympian and henceforth, so... Move it slightly there so that... I'm still miles off the curb today. It's not my day. Not my day today. I've worked that one out. It's not my day. Now we need to follow the Scunthorpe ones. There we go, so Wythorpe, that's us, straight on. So we are doing the anti-clockwise circular then, I believe. So the anti-clockwise circular that, looking at the times, is slightly quicker than the clockwise one. But we'll see how we do for time on this, because for those of you that have watched my previous Scunthorpe videos, you know that, because I don't mess about when I'm driving in OMSI, I absolutely gun it, because it's not particularly something you can do in real life. I tend to find that I complete routes slightly quicker. I also do love the destination blinds for these vehicles. I believe it was the destination blind pack I got, and I do think they look really cool. I really, really do. I mean, they're not in service transfer style blind. It's a bit strange in this map, but I still think it looks cool. So blinds like that with Transdev, when they're done properly, they look really, really effective. Like, really effective. But when you sort of just spam them and just make a load of different variations without tweaking it slightly, or you put the wrong size file into the wrong blind on the bus, that's when it looks rubbish. It's like, for example, when the blind, when it's like the blind file for a big destination on a small bus, or that, oh, I don't know what the game did there, but it's improved my frame rate. But either way, it looks rubbish because it either looks too big or it looks too small, and it's just not, it's not what you want, really. You just want a blind that looks good, that you can see, tells you all the information, and as I say, it's clear that that's what the blinds are. So it's like I saw one recently, the 60A Shipley and Keithley blind is a massive 60A that takes up just under a third of the destination blind. Is just massive 60A. And then you've got, instead of it saying sort of Keithley via Shipley, that I understand because during the day the buses only go Shipley, the 60As, so it's peak times they go to Keithley. They've put Shipley plus Keithley, and it's that small. By the time you've read through it all, unless you know what bus you're going for, if it's zooming past quick, you won't have a chance of seeing it. Like, the 60A could do with being slightly smaller or slightly thinner font, and you could have done with possibly a blind that says Keighley via Shipley or Shipley then Keighley. And if you did that, flashed over airline, you didn't put all the via Tiny Green Gates, via Kirkstall little bits that you can't see on it, you'd be fine, because, again, 90% of the time people will ask you if they're unsure about a location, and then your follow-up to that is most people, oh my goodness me, straight out in front of bus. Crikey love. Most people will then check arrows carefully. Oh, do we, every time I do this, do we go via Tesco? Yeah, we do, we go via Tesco. Via Tesco, FedEx. I thought we would do. It's possibly just a late at night after 10 o'clock when it shuts jobs that don't go via there. But yeah, it could just do with the number being smaller in Finneran, then as I say, Shipley then Keighley if they want it that way around, or Keighley via Shipley. And you could obviously have on the bottom, leave it on, instead of flashing onto airline as quick as it does, leave it on with Keighley on the top, or potentially do it so that then Keighley on the bottom, and then you just put via Shipley, then via Greengate, stuff like that. And that'd be a more logical approach to it. Don't get me wrong, you could keep the font looks lovely. However, it just, as a whole, from a like customer perspective, it just doesn't work. Because the 60A is that big that you can't see much of the other blind. And if you are looking for like the end destination of Keighley or Shipley, or you know your locations on that line, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see it all pushed together with a massive number that, in the nicest way, most people are going to be unsure about anyway, sort of filling up the entire blind. So, especially when you have new routes and stuff like that, yes, it needs to show the number and you need to show the variation, but then you also need to reassure people of the destinations that it serves on the main service, or the service it's replaced, or the variation, if that makes sense. That needs to be a top priority, so people need to know that it serves Shipley. They need to know that it serves Keighley, not just that it's the 60A in massive letters. But again, I imagine it was quite a rush job, I would imagine. It was one of these short-term announcement jobs, so it wasn't given particularly much warning for when it was going to happen. So possibly that kind of thing, but even then. But that's just me. That's just me being really nitpicky. On the whole, I think it's alright. Remember the first time I came to Scunthorpe, I was on the 361. It pulled into there, and from memory, there was an Eclipse parked up. And I remember thinking, Scunthorpe. Gotta love the variety of buses. Well, they've got their new Eclipse 2s. I believe are they B7s and B8s that they've got? I think they might be. I think they're just B7s. I think they're before, because they're all 9 plates, aren't they? So they'll. They're all 9 plates, so they'll be B7s, because B8s weren't a thing back then. But they've just got them from the Fenlands and the Cambridgeshire Busway, painted them purple in the new purple interconnect livery, and they've entered service on the 103. That I think is pretty cool. I think they're really cool, so I do need to pop down and go on them. They've got a lovely high-spec interior that is the kind of thing that you really want on a brand like Interconnect. You want to make sure that you keep a high-spec high-spec interior going on it. They're really, really cool. Definitely the upgrade that the 103 service has needed for some time. Definitely. So I think they're pretty cool. Oh, it goes this way. Oh, it's alright. It's just the bumps. It's fine. Yes, I'm driving quickly, but... all I'm driving like is just... I mean, in fairness, I didn't like how it lopped around that corner. But I am only driving it like the drivers do in Scunthorpe when I last went. And he absolutely nutted it round the route. Don't think the AI people in this map appreciate all the bumpy roads. I think that's what it is. Oh, there we go. I was about to say, stay with us, game. Waited all that time for that car that was just merely turning left. This looks like a good screenshot opportunity. If the vehicle wanted to. Looks cool. Not particular what I'm going for with the arch, but I don't quite know how we can get the... do that. That looks alright, I like that. Even though the lighting is not right at all. So in basics, the 1 and the 1A, I believe they run most of the time now, but they're pretty much the only services in Scunthorpe in real life that run evenings and Sundays. You get some 350s that go up to Ashby on a Sunday, but this is predominantly the 1 and 1A are the main services. Now the reason for that in Scunthorpe is because these are a big circular, but they're a big circular that serve the majority of the different bus terminal points and different housing estates in Scunthorpe. So pretty much anywhere that the 350 doesn't serve, these serve in the peripheral area of Scunthorpe. So they are within walking distance from most people on an evening and a Sunday. Yes, there's some areas that don't count and that's a bit further out, but to the vast majority of people, these services are accessible to them. So that's why during Monday to Saturday daytime, they run all the other services for people that probably don't have the best mobility to walk to these routes, and for also to make it easier for people to get to the services and to match higher demand during Monday to Saturday. But then on a Sunday when demand is quieter, people are willing to walk a bit further, it makes sense to want to run the 1-on-1A. I believe they do have the odd other service on a Sunday. I'm sure they've had in the past, like the 4 or something runs on a Sunday, or the 3. But the 1-on-1A are your main services that run. And I remember when I was last in Scunthorpe, and I was sat in the Wetherspoons watching the darts go by on the 1-on-1A. Now those are bygone times of them. Because nowadays it's just E200s. I mean, the fleet replacement at Stagecoach Scunthorpe was incredibly quick on the single decker side. They did not mess about getting rid of all the older buses when they had the opportunity. They cracked on very quickly. I must say, I do love absolutely flooring it round these estates in Scunthorpe with these buses. I do really enjoy it. To say that car made it very, very tight to get round. With all that road space as well. And then we go all the way up to here. I'm not getting any closer, so you'll have to just... Nope, okay, bye then. If you're not willing to walk a little bit so that I don't hurtle into that red car, then I'm sorry, but I'm not sacrificing the front end of another bus. If you don't get what I mean, watch the previous video. I'm not sacrificing the front end of another bus for someone that can't be bothered to walk a couple of feet like this guy. See, that's the spirit. There's also a surprising amount of people out in the estates wanting to head out this evening as well. Usually, hardly pick anybody up. Usually, you drop off and then that's about it. So yeah, I do think Huddersfield will get street decks at some point. I mean, we all thought they were going to get them as the next vehicles. Very surprised that York B9s have gone across. I mean, yes, it makes sense with York getting all the electric buses and that they usher out the B7s, but we genuinely thought that the next vehicles Huddersfield were going to get were going to be straight decks. We've thought that for a few years now, so certainly surprising they haven't got any yet. I mean, Halifax did try a street deck out many, many years ago, and it just was not good enough on the 503. Otherwise, they'd have most likely bought some for the 503. So yeah, they never ended up getting any for that. And I could definitely see Halifax getting street decks for schools only. That's what I could see happening. I could see Halifax getting street decks and being like, oh, we're only putting them on schools. I could very much see that happening, especially the SL16s. I could see that happening, but I do think Huddersfield will get some street decks for service work. I can just see it happening. Oh, it's doing well up the hill. Oh my goodness, it's pulling very well. Just listening to the gears as it went through, and I just thought it'd have some sort of meltdown and stop working. But it didn't, it did very well. Oh, and then the 3 splits off, and we're now just alone on the 1A. Again, this straight deck is like a rocket. Oh my goodness me, this is actually a really impressive one. Usually I tend to find they're quite slow in this game. This is actually rather impressive. Absolutely ideal for runs like this. Permitted this would be slightly busier. Absolutely ideal. One of the twins gets off, one of the twins gets on. And then the 11, I haven't done the 11 route in a while, so I might have to do that. That's a morning peak service that goes out to Scunthorpe bus station, a different way, goes past the train station, skips out the town, so I do need to drive that route again, I think. That might be the next video, actually. And then I need to actually, when I get to the next shopping centre or village or something like that, that's not in the middle of an housing estate, I want to check my time, because I think I am slightly early. And we just watched the dude walk through a car. Oh, the 3 joined us again for a brief spell. Oh, it's that weird time of day where the lighting's a bit strange. Oh gosh, it's messing with my eyes a bit. How early are we? Oh, we're only 6 minutes early. Wait until we get to the next village and possibly have a few minutes there, I think. Well, we'll only have about 4 minutes by the time we got through the lights. There we go. That was one of those where I was that busy checking bus stop, I didn't realise lights had changed, and I thought, oh, traffic lights. Better stop. It's a good job I didn't wait time anywhere, because there was not much point. Really not much point. Not with these traffic lights. So we're back into a 1A only section again. The guy walks through a car. They don't half like walking through cars round here. And we're all going to have an hobby. But walking literally through an object, a solid object, is a skill. Definitely a skill. Oh, this looks slightly familiar. Only slightly, though I do think I might be thinking of the wrong place. Or not. Sure, this is very similar to where the 6 comes down. But it's only a calm. Hey, what bite? Oh no, I definitely don't recognise this area. This is definitely not where the 6 goes. This all looks very new. Certainly haven't seen this area before. Oh, I need another left turn, and then the sunlight will be, or the shadows, or whatever you wish to call them, lighting will be spot on. All being well. Nope, not the horn. There we go. Oh, there goes a Hornsby's boss. Let's see. Is it good enough? Depending I could get the right camera angle, yeah. Yes, it is. Let's try. Oof, no, I'm not keen on that at all. Welcome to another episode of And More Central attempts the perfect camera angle on a bus and fails miserably. And more central and more bus videos. Yeah, it's been a long day. Doesn't help when I get them too confused. Really doesn't help. There we go. She didn't walk up to the bus stop. Right quick. I know she's an elderly lady, but if that were me, I'd have stood right on Edgwick Road at bus stops up to driver saw me, especially when it's getting dark. Not just sauntered up. Random lights in the mid-air. That's different. We're back in Scunthorpe apparently. I don't know where on earth we went. All routes, so that means we're near Ashby. That's what that usually means. Yeah, there we go. We're in Ashby. I'm sure there was another shopping centre this used to go by. Sure there was. Ah, yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely did the one in the other direction because I remember it. The way that we're about to go, it came up from that way. I crossed over and then got a Viking round Ashby Estate on 6, and then caught it back into Scunthorpe Centre. That were good with that. Remember, it was the Purple Interconnect Viking, one that actually got scrapped quite early on. So that were 16913, I believe, from memory. And the one I got coming back was either 16919 or 20. Which one it was, it is a bit fuzzy. But 16 is currently in use at Lincoln. That's definitely a random bit of trivia. Last place I kind of expected it were Lincoln. I didn't expect them to get one of them again. So we'll zoom up the time to 52, so we're not doing as bad for time. There we go. And now we're good to go. Oh, got somebody waiting. That's why you always check your mirrors before you set off. Now this is the section of route I iconically, in the other direction I must say, but iconically remember the driver of the 16913 absolutely gunning it. It was an amazing run. It's what made me sort of actually like doing the Scunthorpe locals on OMSI. I never really used to be a fan of them because they were quite long routes, but I absolutely love them as a result, because it's just so cool to just dart around all the little locals with an old piece of interesting kit, and just absolutely nut it around the estates. There goes. That's a 1A in the other direction. It might have been the 1A I got then, actually, because I keep forgetting it's both directions. So that's the 1A in the other direction that we've seen. I'm sure I should have seen another one before, but... yeah, I believe we're nearly back now. See, it's not too much of a bad run, to be fair. I'm already early again, but it's not too much of a bad run, to be fair. It's just a nice dart around the estates. I mean, if you've got the opportunity, crank up some good music, and it's a nice therapeutic hour. There goes another bus. Ah, that's not in service to the depot, is that? So that's an Ashby's that's finished, or Hornsby's that's finished, and going back to Ashby's. That's the right way around for that. So we don't go to Lake. That's the one I was thinking of, Lakeside, and we don't go there at all. Ah, yes, I do remember this from real life. Definitely remember this. Because I'd vaguely, I think, had driven round here in the game once. So when I was actually on the Scunthorpe route, I need to do another visit to Scunthorpe and just do the locals. I mean, yes, they're not as interesting now, but it's still cool from driving it in OMSI kind of perspective. Might even have to do a day's driving for Ormsby's, you know. Never know. You never know. Took that slightly wider than I was intending on. Still made it round, so that's what matters. I was still right at middle of the road. Crikey. Like when I said stand on the edge of the road so I can see you, I didn't mean stand in the path of the bus. That's not something I'd personally recommend. There we go, I believe that little bit of a lag spike is the game loading in Scunthorpe again. I do love driving in sunset in this game. I do think it looks so good. Again, trying to avoid wiping out a passenger because they're stood pretty much in the vehicle's path. And there we go, to the roundabout, and then we're over the hill, back into Scunthorpe. Well, because I am on the home straight, is there a Scunthorpe line? No, there isn't. I feel like that's a missed trick. It would have been quite nice to have a bus station. Well, not potentially for sort of use all the time, but if you're mid-trip, and you pass the Yaddlethorpe, it just might be quite nice to just have a bus station up. Especially after Ashby, I think. Probably even after Yaddlethorpe, to be fair. Then bus station via Ashby, I think, would be quite good. So people then know your intentions. It's like with the 6, when it used to be one full round trip. Oh, interconnect. When it used to be run full round trip, you still had an Ashby and then a Scunthorpe blind. And yes, the Ashby blind worked all the way around the route. But if you wanted, the Scunthorpe blind also worked from Ashby onwards. So you used to get to Ashby, I'd change the blind and then run back in with 6 Scunthorpe up front. Just to not confuse people. There we go. Yeah, I do need to get a bit closer to the curb while I'm driving these buses. Just seem to be having a day where I'm absolutely nowhere near today. I don't know why. I mean, in this and the previous video I filmed, I'm just absolutely nowhere near the curb whatsoever. It's very, very, very strange. But it just seems to be one of those days. But we're nearly back now anyway, so that's good. This stop, then into the bus station. There we go, that's a bit better. I didn't mean to overshoot that, but there's still a walking path of sorts. I did overshoot that a fair bit, to be fair. There is still a walking path. Most people have chosen the walking path. Some haven't. Most have. There goes that not. As a result, has that not registered it because I've gone down the wrong path? All I want is for it to register that I've done the route. That's all I want. So there we go. So that was the 1A anti-clockwise Yaddlethorpe circular, calling it Yaddlethorpe, Ashby, and every single other housing estate in Scunthorpe. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, as well as an archive of around 6,000 backseats and engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond, with buses, trams, trains, and more. There's some fun on there for everyone, with additional 21 videos added per week. Once again, though, I would like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video I make. Goodbye for now. Bye.